Then I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides, and sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, "Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?" But no one in heaven or on earth or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and wept because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll or look inside. Then one of the elders said to me, "Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals."
Then I saw a lamb, looking as if it had been slain, standing in the center of the throne, encircled by the 4 living creatures and the elders. He had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God, sent out into all the earth. He came and took the scroll from the right hand of him who sat on the throne. And when he had taken it, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp, and they were holding golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sang a new song.
"You are worthy to take the scroll and open its seals, because you were slain, and with your blood you purchased men for God, from every tribe and language and people and nation. You have made them to be a kingdom and priests who serve our God, and they will reign on the earth."
Hello. I guess I'm live, so that's great. I'd like to thank Janice Hanks and Alicia Logan for giving us our reading for this morning. My sermon today, I'm Ron Reece, and the pastor asked me about 4 or 5 weeks ago to give the sermon for today. And working with the book of Revelation in a class that I'm taking at Shasta Bible College, and also working with the book of Job this month, or this quarter in Sabbath school, I delved into research, and my title of my sermon today is God's Character at the Heart of Reality. I'd like to thank some of my references before getting going on my sermon, particularly Darrell Johnson's series on Revelation, the SDA Bible Commentary on Revelation, Steve Case, 7 Keys to Finding Jesus in the Book of Revelation, Sigve Tonstad, Saving the Reputation of God, Richard Rohr, The Trinity, Richard Bachman, The Climax of Prophecy, and Tom Meyer, Commentary on Revelation. As the election for the President of the United States looms closer, we are asking who will be in charge? What will he or she be like? Are these candidates of upstanding character? What motivates them? Are they ethical? Are they courageous? Are they transparent? Will they make good decisions? In even a larger context, in the world seemingly out of control, in hurricanes, in Syria, on our borders, in our cities, we ask the larger question, who is ultimately in control? Many religions say that God is ultimately under control. But what is God like? How does God wield his authority? What is God's character? Is God transparent and ethical? Understanding who God is and what God's character is like will determine your view of reality. Richard Rohr puts it like this: I believe behind every mistaken understanding of reality, there is also a mistaken understanding of God. If you draw close to someone who is in a violent or fearful state, you will likely discover that his or her operative image of God, usually largely unconscious, is inadequate, distorted, or even toxic. That's why good theology is still important. Rohr continues, I believe the ultimate purpose of theology is to clarify the central foundational doctrine of the nature of the one at the center of it all, which many of us call God. For Christians, this became Trinity. The Bible depicts God on his throne at the control center of the cosmos. We know that God is all-powerful and almighty. But as my religion teacher, Graham Maxwell at Loma Linda, would write and say, can God be trusted? Let's look at some of the well-known control centers or throne rooms with their authority figures in the past and present. Can you recognize any of these people or places or paintings? Can anyone recognize this painting? Go back. Anyone? What's that? Egypt and Ten Commandments? This is actually William Blake's picture of Job. And here's God. Here's the heavenly host. Here's Job in his suffering. And here's the Satan, kind of caught between heaven and earth. Can anyone recognize this throne room or control center? Excellent. This is a slide of Pharaoh and Moses. Pharaoh had viewed the Israelites as slave labor. Moses had come to reveal God as liberator. Let my people go. How about this slide? Belteshazzar and Daniel. That's correct. Belteshazzar throws a large idolatrous party for 10,000 guests, and God shows up writing with an unseen hand on the wall. Tikal tikal mini upharsons in Persian, which means your kingdom has been weighed and has been found wanting. What is this throne room? Emerald City, the Wizard of Oz. And what happens when you pull back the curtain? What do you see? You see a fake. The Wizard of Oz pulling the levers to make the throne room come alive with thunder and lightning. How about this control center? Star Trek, yes. Many friendly faces, Kirk, Spock, McCoy. How about this control center? Right. This is Star Wars and Darth Vader. And the destructive character of Darth Vader becomes evident throughout the film. What is this control center? This is the National Security Room in the White House with President Obama when Osama bin Laden had been found in Pakistan. What is this control center? What is this throne room? Well, I asked, what does God's control center look like at the center of all reality? I believe the book of Revelation gives us a rare glimpse into God's control center. And it also tells us about God's character. The book of Revelation is the apocalypse of Jesus Christ, or the unveiling of Jesus Christ. Now, I know the book of Revelation has had its detractors. Martin Luther, throughout the book, thought the book of Revelation should not be included in the biblical canon. However, of all the books of the Bible that might speak to the modern world, it should be the book of Revelation. in the world of Instagram and Facebook and Star Wars and the Lord of the Rings that give us wild imagery and symbolism, the book of Revelation similarly presents almost cinematic vignettes showing with vivid symbolic images heaven and God's interaction with earth and his followers. This is a painting by Matthias Guring, and here he depicts Revelation 4 and 5. In Revelation 4 and 5, God's throne is depicted surrounded by the 12 elders. And many people have believed that 12 of them, 24 elders. 12 elders were believed to be the tribes of Judah and the 12 disciples. God's throne is also surrounded by 4 living creatures, which has been interpreted as representing all created reality surrounding God. God is surrounded by 7 spirits, reflecting God's Holy Spirit in its fullness and completeness. God is depicted holding a 7-sealed scroll that is written on both sides. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals therein?" And no man in heaven, nor in earth, nor under the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and read the book, neither to look thereon. The scroll with the 7 seals represents the fullness of history. Your history, my history, salvation history. The one who can open the 7-sealed scroll can explain the mystery of history. The one who can open the 7 scroll can explain the mystery of salvation. Then one of the elders said to me, "Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals." Here we see that the mystery of history is not just an idea or a denomination, but a person. And that person is the Lion of the tribe of Judah and the Root of David. Lions were symbolic. Lions were symbolic of power. And if you were in the ancient world, you would have got that immediately. This is the winged lion of Darius I. And of course, these are the glazed lions of Babylon, produced by Nebuchadnezzar. Then I saw a lamb looking as if slain, standing at the center of the throne, encircled by the 4 living creatures and the elders. The lamb had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth. And he went and took the scroll from the right hand of him who sat on the throne. And when he had taken it, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp, and they were holding golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. And they sang a new song, saying, "You are worthy to take the scroll and open its seals, because you were slain. With your blood you purchased for God persons from every tribe and language and people and nation." Notice John expects to see a lion, known throughout history to be the symbol of power. But John turns around and he sees a slain lamb who represents Christ's self-sacrificial death on Calvary. This is a radical reversal. At the core of God, at the center of reality, is self-sacrificial love. Adventist theologian Sigve Tonsvad writes in Saving God's Reputation, "The deceiver Satan must be unmasked, and the task of doing so has been given in Revelation by Jesus in the form of a lamb that looks as if it had been slaughtered. The lamb is the definitive manifestation of God's character in history. There are two Greek words for lamb in the New Testament. One is amnos, meaning an adult sheep. The other word for lamb used here is arnion, which means a little lamb. Amazingly, at the center of reality is a playful little lamb who gives himself in self-sacrificial love to the universe. I don't think we would have ever guessed that on our own. We think that at the center of God is lightning and thunder and glory. Yet if God is the mirror image of God, so at the heart of God, at the center of the universe, is a playful spirit of self-giving love. At the heart of the Almighty, the all-powerful, and the all-wise God is a playful lamb. Have you seen that? I have. I've glimpsed that when snorkeling on the Great Barrier Reef and seeing myriads of playful tropical fish. I also see it when I see a baby smile or a rosebud that's just about to blossom. Notice that this lamb is infinitely powerful. It's not a weak lamb. Note the 7 horns. For the ancient world, they would have instantly recognized the symbology. Here is Zeus, and Zeus has ram's horn. And right below that is Alexander the Great, who viewed himself as Zeus, and he's also seen with ram's horn. Jesus, or the Lamb, has 7 horns, representing complete and total power. The Lamb is also infinitely wise. Note the 7 eyes. Again, if you were living in the ancient world, you would have picked that up instantly. Note, this is Tutankhamun's amulet, or the Eye of Horus, discovered in his tomb, and the Hindu middle eye of the forehead, and, of course, the all-seeing eye on the $1 bill. But Jesus, or the Lamb, has 7 eyes, representing infinite wisdom and infinite grace. What are the implications of having a God of self-sacrificial love at the center of all of reality? I believe they are staggering. First, God has to act differently when working from self-sacrificial love than one acts or exerts one authority from force or fear or might. You see, God has this unique dilemma. How does someone who is infinitely powerful and infinitely almighty convince the world that he is love? I believe it takes time for God's love to fully reveal itself in actions and deeds. Alexander the Great conquered the entire world in 12 years and then died in a drinking party, pining that there was not more lands to be conquered. Ironically, Alexander died in the city of Babylon, where Nebuchadnezzar and Belteshazzar had ruled. But Alexander conquered by fear and force and brutality. True love and true power is naturally humble and nonviolent. It takes little power to destroy. It takes real power and time to build and heal. It takes real power to say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It takes real power and time to say, love your enemy, do good to those that persecute you. For love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It's not self-seeking, it does not easily get anger. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but it rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always persevere. God's character of self-sacrificial love, when seen in the context of Lucifer's free will choice and the fall of heaven, which took 1/3 of the angels, must be long-suffering and patient. God's self-sacrificial love, when seen at the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, must be patient and long-suffering to allow the full expression of Adam and Eve's free will. Also, our free will cannot be coerced. It must be allowed free expression. We ask, why has God not come? I believe God is still working out his plan of love for this world. And surprisingly, he does it through you and me, people who are not always that loving. Another implication of demonstrating God's character of self-sacrificial love is the false gods of this world must be unmasked. Just turn on your TV, see what celebrity or rock star or sports drink or fast food restaurant wants you to follow them. What are their motives? C.S. Lewis, in the Screw Tape Letters, writes that the false gods of this world will want to treat you as cattle and eventually have you as food. While God begins with humans who are servants, and eventually God wants to turn you into sons and daughters. Jesus says of the false gods of this world, the thief cometh not, but to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they may have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. Another implication of the slain lamb of self-sacrificial love being at the center of God's throne is it sheds light on God's vulnerability. God, through Jesus, puts his life in the hands of humanity. What will you do with God? What will I do with God? God's vulnerability is seen when God comes as a baby in the manger. God's vulnerability is seen on Calvary when Jesus could have called 10,000 angels to deliver him from the moment. The Lamb freely chose to be slain. More accurate, the Greek word is murdered or slaughtered. Who murdered Christ? Surprisingly, it was not murderers or thieves, but institutionalized religion who murdered Christ. It was not the worst of institutionalized religion. It was the best of institutionalized religion. Those who God had called to be his people. The high priests and the authority figures felt that it was more important that Christ would die to preserve the nation, that it was their unique standing before God that was important. I think that could also be important for today's institutionalized religion, wherever it is. For those that feel that they are extra special or the remnant, we need to make sure that it is Christ and the Lamb that is at the center of our theology. I believe Jesus is asking his followers to lead a life open to the suffering of others, to be vulnerable to the needs of others. Richard Rohr again puts it well. It is a risky position to live undefended, in a kind of constant openness to the other, because it means others could actually come and wound us. Indeed, vulnera comes from the Latin to wound, but only if we take this risk do we also have the opposite possibility. The other might also gift us, free us, and even love us. The last implication of having the Lamb of self-sacrificial love at the center of reality is now you are with Jesus and God the Father and God the Holy Spirit at the center of the universe. Note, you are not the center of the universe. Yet you have joined the Trinitarian dance, a divine dance of diversity and yet unity. When you put on Revelation's glasses, you see another dimension not seen with our normal eyes. Jesus is right here walking in our midst today, now. He says so much in Revelation 1 through 3, where he is walking among the 7 churches, also symbolic of his churches everywhere and at all times. Jesus says, I am with you always, even unto the end of the age. Can you sense that Jesus could be walking up and down this aisle today? Note surrounding the throne is the stone jasper, which is both transparent and opaque. God is transparent, yet mysterious at the same time. Yet when we see at the heart of reality is the slain lamb, we can live in the enigma and confusion called life. Revelation 5 reveals that God is not estranged from us. God knows and has embraced Job's suffering. On Calvary, God knows, feels, and has embraced our suffering even unto death. In summary, in Revelation 5, we see at the heart of God's character is patience, vulnerability, long-suffering, holiness, transparency, but yet mystery. You are worthy to take the scroll and open its seals because you were slain, and with your blood you purchased for God persons from every tribe and language and people and nation. John, that must be a typo. Christ's blood has purchased for God persons from every tribe, every language, every people, every nation, even Syrians, even Muslims, even Russians, even Hindus. Apparently so. God has people from every tribe and language and people and nation that are important to him. Are they also important to Christ's followers? As we move forward into the future this week, may we remember our God who has fully been revealed to be a God of self-sacrificial love, who is safe to live with and to enjoy for eternity. Amen.